I cough. Why do I cough? Because I have to expel the particles that are in my throat or in my trachea, windpipe. And this is what the parents are saying. When you are eating, you should not be talking. And they're scientific. They are very scientific. So science, don't think about the classroom alone. It's right at the house, right where you grew up, and many other things that your parents tell you. It is all science. And I am very happy today to say that the National Commission for UNESCO is collaborating amicably and very well with the Directorate of Science and Technology Education Unit. And we are giving funding and support to them as much as we can. They are one of our most active partners that respond as soon as it is needed. And that shows that they need to develop science and technology. Maybe the relationship could date back a long time ago, or maybe it could be because I have a science background, number one. And number two, I was also at the Directorate of Science and Technology Education, where we realized the problems that we are facing as scientists, as people who want to improve the teaching and learning of science. And having left that and got to UNESCO, as soon as it comes, I know where to channel, and the director and his staff are really very active. They're waiting for anybody to come for funding, for sponsorship, for support, and they would get into it. The issue here is UNESCO, I wouldn't say we are specialists in science, but UNESCO is the body, the specialized UN body responsible for education. And all what we are doing and talking about is teaching and learning of science. So that is where we are coming. Every year through the participation program, the Directorate of Science and Technology Education of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education would at least get a program in which an activity of almost about $25,000, in which they would be able to run activities. And it is done perfectly well all the time. Okay. And that is the relationship. It is very amicable. Okay. But again, if you would allow me time to get into this and the team, when we talked about a world without science is worthless, I would want to say a world that abuses science is miserable. Science has not done anything bad.
Okay, Mr. Job, I'm afraid I would have to cut you short there because you definitely have to tell us that aspect of it, because I think even Mr. So, when he was delivering his statement, he made mention of that fact that there is this kind of moral component to the whole thing, that science has brought about such a development in the world that you cannot imagine the world today without those developments. But then obviously you also have some people standing on the other side of the equation who think that the coming to being of science, the advancement of science, also, you know, came along with some disadvantages, and he's also spoken about that. But then he looked at the moral aspect of it. Like those people who are using the science, it's their moral status that determines whether they're using science in the best way or they're abusing it. So you're going to talk about that one later. So, but first I have to shift my attention to Demba Yabo. When we're talking about science and technology, his ministry, the directorate is not only looking at the learning of science, because when we talk of science, what comes to mind is maybe physics, chemistry, and biology, but then we also have in it mathematics, which is also very crucial. And then you are the Secretary General to the Association of to the Maths Teachers Association. I don't know how you people are going about it, because when we're talking about science being difficult and then maths also being very difficult, and you people are the teachers who are trying to teach these kids mathematics. How have you been coordinating your affairs as Teachers Union?
Thank you very much, Jamal. Good evening, viewers. Well, as you rightly said, when you talk of science, physics, chemistry, biology, you must mention mathematics, because mathematics is the bedrock of science. In fact, most of the fears that students have in science, why they are not trying to specialize in science, is because of the fear of mathematics. Maths is making most of them to scare away from science. That's the reality. Because if you listen to Dr. Sow's speech, the statistics he gave definitely is scary. because most of us thought that at least at the university they are making progress to bring out teachers who are going to be specialists in the sciences. But if you definitely do this survey, you will realize that most of the people run away from science is not because of physics, the reading aspect of it, but because of the calculation aspect of it. And our association, MATAC, we are cognizant of that. And really, we are making a lot of efforts to improve mathematics in our schools, the teaching and learning of mathematics in our schools, from the primary level, because that's where the major problem lies. Because most of the people, when you ask them, why are you not specializing in mathematics, or why do you hate maths, they will tell you, my primary school time, since my primary school time, or my lower basic time, I cannot do maths. Some will even go further to accuse teachers. Teacher so-and-so made me to dislike mathematics. So that is definitely a concern we have as an association. Number one, we want to liaise with the Directorate of Science and Technology. In fact, we are liaising with them to see how best we can improve the teaching aspect of it. Because the teachers are key when you talk about improving the learning of mathematics in the schools. Because they make students to fear mathematics. So we are working hand in hand with the Directorate of Science and Technology to meet teachers at the regions, to discuss with them, to see how best the teaching and learning of maths can go with less fear. Students can have passion for mathematics. But the moment they don't have that, they will definitely not want to specialize in the sciences. So presently, in fact, we have developed a manual that we want from grade 1 to grade 3, teachers can be looking at, to see how best we can make the teaching more easier, using things that children definitely are more used to. Because as, Mr. Job said, when you talk about the sciences, they are there at home. We are doing sciences all over, likewise mathematics. Anything that you do is mathematics. But how many of us are aware of that? Unless we make the people know that, then they will definitely have less fear. So definitely as an association, we are working towards that end.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Mr. Yabo. So Mr. Job, now how important science is, we've spoken about it. We've spoken about the importance of science, that it's so indispensable when it comes to the advancement or development of any nation, whether infrastructural development, whether economic development, whether any other aspect of development that we're talking about. We cannot do it without, in the absence of science. We've spoken about that. But then we've also realized some lapses in terms of the willingness on the side of students in embracing this. And then if you don't get the students interested in learning of science, technology, and mathematics, obviously the efforts that you're making at that level as the policymakers will be very futile. So I don't know what you're doing as a directorate to at least spur these students into developing positive attitudes, apart from providing them with facilities, with the needed facilities to help ease the teaching and learning of science. I don't know if you're also doing anything there, if you're going extra mile in getting the students interested in learning science and technology and mathematics, because obviously we know that they are fast losing interest in it because they have that inexplicable fear or phobia that these are areas that are very, very difficult, and it's not the area for those people who don't have high IQ. So what is your directorate doing about that?
Thank you very much, Jamal, once again. I mean, I think one of the very obvious activities that we are doing as a directorate is this Science Week celebration, which I said is one of the strategies in trying to, it's an advocacy measure, some sort of, to advocate for and then sensitize both parents and students as far as science is concerned. Now, if you listen to Dr. Sow's statement this morning, he talked about the issue of the numbers, of not getting, particularly chemistry and physics, not getting teachers or students enrolled into the university. But the issue is it's an issue of the egg and the chicken, which comes first. If you do not have the students, you cannot have the candidates to the university. But if you do not have the teachers coming out from the university also, you cannot have the students in the schools, because who are going to teach them? And that is why we are coming up with this kind of strategies of advocacy, this advocacy strategy, by sensitizing them. I mean, like I said, it's rotational. A few years ago, we were in Region 3. This year, we are in Region 2. Inshallah, next year, we'll go to another region. But as we are here, all these 3 days, we will be exposing to the children to the importance of science and letting them understand that trying to demystify those codes of is difficult. science is difficult, mathematics is difficult. We try to demystify those concepts by making them understand that these are real day subjects. Day to day, everything that they're doing is science and is mathematics. And when they understand that, you see the numbers will change. I mean, I am happy to tell you, this academic year, we are yet to make a survey because since about 2007, we didn't go back to make another survey. But I spoke to many principals of senior secondary schools, and they're telling me the numbers of students that are opting for science are on the increase, that some of them are compelled to open additional classes for science. But, I mean, if you have the numbers of the students also willing to do science, the teachers is still a problem. But like I said, the ministry is doing all it could. For the past 2-3 years, every year they're sponsoring 75 young Gambians to do mathematics, science, and English, with other subjects. But mainly, I can tell you, 85% of those awards are going to science and mathematics teachers. Obviously, it will take time. Maybe in 3-4 years, when they start graduating from the university, the numbers will start to change. But we want them, students, to also understand that we